Hey everyone, it's Clarke, and I'm so excited to be here for Audrey's 'Tis This Season Holiday Scrappin' series for day 10. And I'm going to be starting off here with a piece of American Crafts textured cardstock. And I'm going to apply a little bit of vibes in cold as ice using the packaging technique. So I've just taken a little bit of plastic packaging, I squirted a little bit of that liquid on there, and I'm just going to smoosh that down onto my paper and create a little bit of a base that's going to be peeking out behind the rest of my layout. So you'll just see me taking that blue, and I'm just going to be getting that sort of in kind of a horizontal area across the layout, because that's sort of what I had in mind for the design for my project today. This tone of blue is absolutely perfect for the December Days Pink Fresh collection. And I just absolutely love the colors in December Days, and this tone of blue is perfect. I wanted to just use a little bit of that with some gold in my background, and I'm going to be using a cut file over top of that so that just little hints of that color will be peeping out. And I really like how this looks in the end. So the combination of the Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine and that blue are just absolutely sublime. I love it. Really like the looks of it. And it just kind of pulls everything together here when the layout is completed. So I'm just going to take a little bit of paper towel and dab up some of those extra splotches that I've got in there. And I just used a little bit of that same liquid or that same vibes and just splattered that down. And now I'm just going to splatter a little bit of color shine on there as well in that gold. And so that will be my mixed media for this layout. So I didn't treat the paper with anything. I didn't put any gesso down behind my my different splatters and smooshing here. I just put that right onto the cardstock. I wasn't planning on using a ton of liquid here, so I was fairly certain that my paper wouldn't warp any more than if I had put gesso down. So I'm liking how that's looking so far. And now I'm just going to take this cut file, which is from Just Nick's Studio, and I believe it's called Starburst, and you can find that over in the Just Nick shop. And I love this cut file. I think it's super cute, and I just like that it's not necessarily particularly Christmassy, but it does kind of have a little bit of a, I don't know, it just reminds me a little bit of the holiday season with the idea of stars. And I wanted to use this as part of my base or my mat for my layout. So you can see that Starburst cut file is cut from just some really pretty pink paper with a little bit of a white dot on it, and that is also from that December Days collection. It's actually my favorite paper from that collection. It's just such a really pretty light pink. It's just gorgeous. And this paper that I'm using to back it in certain spots, and I don't back the whole cut file, I just do a few of the stars, is also from that same collection, and it's the one with the ornaments on it. And that paper has little dots of that same blue and pink and red in it, and it's perfect. It's just adds a little bit of detail to some of those stars, and I like how it turns out. Now I've just used a little bit of liquid glue on the back of the cut file, and I've placed it down onto that pattern, that pink pattern paper, and I just cut around the edges of the cut file to get rid of the excess paper there. I'm just adding a little bit of extra adhesive to make sure that that's stuck down. Now this wood grain paper that I'm using for backing my photograph is from the Cartabella Christmas Delivery collection, and this is a Christmas collection, I guess, from last year. And I just really liked how this wood grain paper kind of pops off of the layout, just because it's really the only sort of darker tone that I'm going to be using. And I actually end up taking the photograph off of that wood grain paper and putting a little bit of a white border in white cardstock around the photograph, and then putting it back down onto that wood grain paper just to make the photograph pop a little bit. And to do that, I just sized my paper down, or my photograph down slightly, and then got that going again. So I'm just going to take some foam adhesive and pop this cut file up off of my background here a bit just to bring it up and give it a little more dimension. And there you can see that that photograph has been matted in that white cardstock so that it just looks a little more finished and polished that way. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it just draws your focus even more to that photo. The photograph was originally printed in 4x6, but I sized it down a little bit, and of course it is in black and white. And I am just going to release that cut file in a couple of places and just tuck the photograph into the cut file. And then you can still see the cut file kind of poking up around the photo, and you can still see that mixed media in the background, and it just kind of all works together really nicely. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that wood grain paper that was just a scrap from the bottom of where the photograph mat is, and I'm going to use that just to create a little cluster in that top corner so that there's just a little bit of detail up there as well in that white space, and just to create a little more interest up in that area. And so you'll just see me using a bunch of the little die cuts from the December Days collection as well. Now the photograph is a picture of Bailey and Brady when they were on a vacation just about a week ago in New York. And you can see the New York skyline behind them. And I just thought that that tall building cut, die cut was perfect for a little cluster in the corner of the photograph there. So I'm just going to use a few of those, the stars that were sort of punched out from that cut file. From cutting that, I saved all of the little stars that popped out of it, and I will use those to embellish the layout here and there. So you can see that I'm using a little snowflake die cut from that same collection and one of the little gold stars from December Days. And I'm just, trying to use a little bit of gold on this layout as well, because I am going to use gold in the title, and then of course the gold color shine, and it just looks quite nice with the really soft colors of that collection. And I just really love the little pops of red as well. I feel like it just adds a little bit of extra pizzazz to the layout. Now that little magic die cut from up in the corner there is from, I think that's from a Pink Fresh collection from maybe last Christmas. And I'm just going to use that circular shape as a little corner piece up there by that cluster. And so you'll just see me adding a few other little pieces up there to add some detail. And I will pop some of the little top die cut pieces up in that top cluster up with, I'll just pop them up with a little bit of foam adhesive as well. I like to do that on any of the top pieces in a cluster just to raise them up off of the layout and give the clusters a little more dimension in that way. And now I'm just going to take a look at the layout and see if there's anything else I want to add. And of course, this takes me to the title. So I'm just taking some things out of my stash. I think this might be an older Amy Tangerine word phrase sticker sheet or thicker sheet. And I'm going to use the word wonderful in gold there. And then I'm going to take some other chipboard alphas. And I think these ones maybe were from Chamel. And I'm going to just put the NYC there underneath wonderful. I kind of take a look at a few different places where I can put the NYC on the layout, and I end up putting that below the wonderful eventually in kind of an offset pattern. And I end up trying to incorporate some of the navy blue, which is in the December Days collection, and the red and the pink there by using the 3 different colors of those chipboard alphas. And you'll just see me, like I said, moving those around a little bit and trying them in different places. And then I finally settle on them below the wonderful. Now I'm going to take another die cut that says Celebrating Joy from the December Days collection and put that at the bottom of my photograph, and then just finish off with a little snowflake down there. And off camera, I do some journaling. I don't show that on camera just because sometimes I like to not always show that on things that I'm going to be sort of putting out there in social media. So I will add that later to the bottom of the layout. And, you can, that's totally optional, however you want to add your journaling. If you want to do it by hand, just do your own handwriting on there. Or if you want to add some type journaling, or if you want to do some hidden journaling in some way. But I will just add it to this layout just below the photograph there in that area where there's some white space. So this is going to be about it for my layout today. I hope you enjoyed my process, and make sure that you stick around for day 11 tomorrow, because we will have a few more days of this series with Audrey, and I think it's absolutely so much fun and so much inspiration for all of us to have these different videos and processes to check out, and a fantastic layout. So thanks so much for stopping by my channel today, guys, and have an amazing day. Bye bye.